I'd like to stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all.
And just for the record, tonight it is October 9th, 2019, 6 p.m. The mayor is out of town, and Trustee Zay is in Newfoundland, so he's out of town as well. So I'll be filling in tonight. So first we'll start with the privilege of the floor, which goes to Dr. Eliotto.
Well, thanks for having me back to close out the reporting process for the pop-up project, the phase 1, as you saw, and I'm sure discussed. We did not continue on to phase 2 based on findings from phase 1. So what this report really does is encapsulate all of the work done in phase 1, the findings, as well as recommendations based on the information that was collected. So the key findings, there really were 2 key findings, and it's a larger document, and I did send an electronic copy earlier this week to the mayor. I know he's out of town. So I also presented it to the chamber board on Monday, so they're aware of the findings and recommendations as well. So the 2 main findings were, 1, businesses wanted to be in Dansville. So whether they were home-based or local businesses, or they were businesses in the region that wanted to consider the market in Dansville and test that out, there was interest. So some were ready to go, some were ready to partner, but there was a large number. Even if every single property was on board to do a pop-up, there were still more businesses interested. So I think that was really a nice, maybe a surprising finding, was the amount of interest there was in the Dansville retail market. Again, this is retail, not every industry. So that was, again, pretty eye-opening. The other finding was that properties were not ready. And the were not ready for the retail market really came down to a couple of aspects. Either there's a lack of response from the property owner to postal mail, email, phone call, or a combination thereof, or there was a lack of property readiness. So there were a couple of properties that had interest, but their properties were not ready. And Tammy did a great job about some of the code aspects. So it wasn't even code aspects, but it was, for example, there were a couple of locations where they had excessive items left over from past tenants that the property owner physically couldn't do on their own. And they had no one to help them, and they had to wait for that help. So that was a big obstacle, is that here were properties ready to go, but they couldn't clear it out in order to rent or even sell the location if it was for sale. So those were the 2 of the findings. The recommendations really hang from those findings. The recommendations, and I'll just give you a brief summary, again, lots more detail here and references for you. But one recommendation was that establishing a clear vision for economic development in the business district, and it was through 3 aspects. 1, branding. What is Dansville about? What does it stand for? What will it market itself as? How will it recruit businesses to support that vision and that brand? The second being growth targets. What would be success? What percentage of properties should be filled? What kind of economic impact should there be? What industry should provide those funding streams and those revenue streams? So growth targets are part of that vision as well. And lastly, business support. So in order to see that vision, that business support, whether it's partnerships locally, we have the chamber and the village working together on this one. I know there's also interest regionally, and Bill Bacon was there on Monday as well, and Laura Lane had been at some meetings, so I know there's also regional interest in partnering and collaborating, as well as grant opportunities, and those were discussed in the report as well. The second recommendation is around removing obstacles to business development, and there are 3 aspects under removing obstacles in the report. 1 is vacant property registration, which is a very common approach around the country for communities that have a number of empty storefronts or commercial properties that are vacant. And that is one area that's discussed in the report. One that's a little bit more of an extreme approach that is often referenced after a vacant property registration isn't fully successful is the concept of land banking, and that's discussed in the report as well. And the last being property owner assistance, so kind of those property owners that just need people to help prepare the space, what kind of supports can be made available locally so that if it's a matter of I need someone to move these boxes and the furniture and to help me, clean it up so that I can rent it out, those types of property owner assistance options should be made available. So based on the report, those areas are discussed. I've also provided references and some other sources that have addressed similar issues that were discussed in the report. So I encourage the continued conversation both locally and regionally in exploring the resources in the report as well as grants available. There's also, actually since the report was written and printed, I've come across another website that's actually based out of Pittsburgh. It's an organization and it's called Revitalize or Die. And I think a lot of the topics that they're discussing in their blog and in some of their presentations align very nicely to some of the findings and recommendations within the report. So I would encourage you to explore that as well.
Revitalize or Die?
Or Die, yes.
Out of Pittsburgh?
Yeah. They post quite a bit more on social media, Facebook, than on their website. Their website does blogs as well as just philosophy information, but more articles and discussions are happening in the social media spaces.
I know, let me just put there with you, that we do have a lot of empty storefronts, and I wish that the property owners would just go through and keep them current and to fire codes so that if you did line up businesses, they could go in. 9 times out of 10, a business comes to me and says, I want to go into this storefront, and I say, okay, I walk through and tell them everything that has to be done for them to open their doors, and they're like, oh, well, the property owner's not going to pay for that, and I can't pay for that. We need help.
Yeah, and I think that might be, to your point, we didn't collaborate beforehand, it was just happened to go through on the same thing. But to that point, the whole vacant property registration really would address not only that level of readiness, but also there's a cost to register your property if it's going to stay vacant. So there's a potential motivator there also to prepare the space and to fill it. So, and that's a common regulation that exists in communities around New York State and around the country.
So, do you think, brainstorming thinking the other day, do you think we do a good job in Dansville of even trying to get business? And you can be, what my point is, I think we need a committee of some people that are already in business in town.
There always was a downtown business owners.
You know, I just don't know if that's
And
died.
I know that I reached out about a year or two ago and was wondering if the downtown businesses would be interested in getting that started back up, because
That's what I'm saying.
any foot traffic we put on Main Street for one business is gonna be assistance and help for the next business next door. So I think that there's, some buy-in there would be nice, because we want, I'd love to see this become
Well, I
like
think it's a buy-in of everything
Yeah.
board,
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
us more than willing to do that. And I think that's some of the missing portions of this. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure the county tries what they can do, but they're doing the county.
Right.
And then I'm reading that Hornell just gets the huge $10 million grant. back.
Cornell got that?
Hornell got it, yeah, so I'm going, here we go again, so, and don't get me wrong, they need it, they deserve it, I'm assuming just as much as anybody else. But I just don't think we have anything working all the time trying to do that here.
And that's an area that, for continued conversation, are there pieces of that exist in the community? Yes, but it's not this kind of unified approach. And
That's
I
what I'm
think
saying.
without that vision, it's really difficult to get all those pieces going in the same direction. It's like everybody's got oars in one, or everybody's going different direction.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think having that kind of unified approach to it, and really what is this community going to be about? What is it going to stand for? And when it comes to recruiting businesses, how is it purposefully done to promote that brand and that view of what Dansville would be for
Yeah,
others.
cause I look at like yourself and Jenny Lucy, the ones that really work hard at their businesses, you know, and if we had 10 of those people working somewhat together with their ideas, in my opinion, I think we would go further than we are, like you're saying, we're all these little shots going here and there and accomplishing nothing.
And when properties are ready,
Sure.
to that end, recruiting businesses to complement the existing as opposed to, and that's part of discussion here is orchestrated recruitment. How do you recruit businesses that complement the existing businesses but also promote that vision of the community that exists? And that revitalizer diet, I talk about the locals being greater than tourists. That it's not enough to bring the tourists in. If the locals love it and participate and partake in it, the tourists will pick up on their lead. So I think that's, that whole, starting local and the advocacy efforts would.
I mean, I always look at like Naples and they always survive over there, cause they don't have any other place to go, but I mean, it's always vibrant. You drive down through there, it's always busy. And I'm going. how
Now,
come
you
we-
also got a winery right there on
And
Main
that's what I'm
Street
just
that
saying, it's.
kinda helps,
Yeah.
support that, that's huge.
Yeah, but and to that end, brewery now exists here, so how do we leverage, some of these assets, but then tie it all together so it looks like it's a common initiative as opposed to, scattered.
So I guess that's my thought. I mean, I'm more than willing to help somebody if we can do that.
Right. So that would be part of the contingency.
And I'm gonna ask for Tammy to look into that vacant property registration ordeal, because it should be,
My office is constantly trying to work on it with residential units, but we haven't ever done it with commercial units, I don't know why. But I can add commercial units to it.
yeah, we'd like to take a look at it, because, if we can somehow do something with that so that them storefronts are ready to go. Hey, if they choose not to rent, we can't force them to rent.
Exactly.
But if they're gonna be vacant and there's people that wanna use them, I mean, they are their business, they own those, but there still is a,
I could send you a couple that I came across that were just New York based, but there is that reference to the North Carolina, they kind of have a red light, yellow light, green light level of readiness
Yep.
also, and then what are the consequences for being at a certain level. So I can share the specifics that aren't in here with you. So
Thank you.
got some examples.
Just you two working together has made a world of difference, in my opinion, right now. I mean, cause you see what she's up against, you know what I mean? I think there's a lot there to be said for, that we could do a lot more.
Tammy, just because the storefronts are empty, they should still look alive. That's my opinion. Look like they're alive. If they look alive, then people will say, well, look at all these stores out there. Maybe they're not all open, but
Exactly.
It might look-
That's actually something I saw in Canada this
She's-
past summer.
Tammy's got a good point there.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's part of it also is that, what are those minimum requirements that if you're going to remain vacant, you're gonna register, here's the registration fee, but here are also the minimum
Windows
requirements.
Minimum
clean,
requirements,
no
put
stickers
something
on
in the
them.
windows.
Right.
Don't make it look like a deserted ghost
Right.
town.
Right.
Yeah.
Very
It's
good.
just not a
I-
tax,
that-
it's just not a tax write-off, right?
Yeah, that's what we saw in Canada this summer was, they had, when you drove down the street, it looked like a full street of businesses. When you walked the sidewalks, you actually did see every other storefront was empty, but you didn't know it because the window was done up to complement the business next door.
Sure.
And the next window was done up to complement the business next door, so it looked like bigger businesses.
Exactly. Even if you gotta put one or two lights in the window.
Bingo.
but if you stopped and walked the street, then that solved the mission of trying to get people to use the streets and walk and.
Exactly.
We're doing a lot of work around the village, the Main Street areas, and parking and whatnot.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So, all we gotta do is pretty up the stores a little bit, and I think we can get some people in here.
And to that end, working on some of the aspects around the vacant properties, if they do continue to be vacant, then the other part of the conversation is, how do we support all of those businesses that wanna be here? Where do we put them? How do we facilitate that? What are some of the opportunities that are available? And that's something that can be discussed, between the village and the chamber to see, how do we welcome them in if they're not getting a response or they're not
Right.
able to find a place?
Right.
how do we keep them here before they go to
Before they go
Cornell
somewhere
and their
else.
$10 million grant or somewhere else?
Well, exactly,
Right.
exactly, yeah.
Right,
I
so,
mean,
I knew I wasn't a fan of Hornell.
what's that? I never was either. We lived up on South Dansville, so we could've went either way, and we always went to Dansville, always.
That's where my husband came from, so be careful.
Well, I like it, it's just, they're a city,
It's
We're
just different.
we're a village,
We
we little.
always seem to be competing against Hornell, we never seem to win. Versus one way or the other.
Alright, you got anything further? I mean,
any other questions that you might have?
I think the start is this vacant property registration. I think that's a good start, because we gotta get the buildings ready to go. So these businesses who do wanna come and they wanna set up, even if it's for a short-term pop-up, we can get these people in, we can get the village people back out, we can get those existing, businesses some additional foot traffic, you know, and try to, you know, liven Main Street's alive, it's just sporadic, and we can have a little bit more.
Right.
Everybody's not gonna be with this program, you know, there's a couple of them that I can bring to my head, you know, they're just not gonna touch it, they own the property and.
And that's where, if it becomes part of, village regulations.
Village
it's
regulations,
hard
they
for them.
must do
Yeah,
something.
cause I see the one in here,
But-
I'm only renting to a doctor.
But the one problem is sometimes when you bring regulations in, we have to look to see where they sit in the grandfather laws.
Right, and I think that would be a good conversation, again, that's out of
Yeah.
my scope of expertise, but you might be able to contact the folks that are in those communities that have those registrations and find out what some of the challenges they face.
But 100%, you're in a room full of people that are pro Main Street, pro village, pro everything. I mean, we're here.
We grew up here.
So you come here and it's all cheer. You know, what can we do? But it's how do we portray that out, that we are interested, we do want that. And I think that you hit some good points. And one I looked at is the vision and, you know, what are we looking for? And there are things that I wouldn't know as a non-business owner. You know, I would think if any store went in, we'd be good, but not realizing that you want one to complement the next. So it's good information.
Yeah, I'd be happy to continue the discussion and answer any questions after you take some time to.
That's what I'm saying, I'd like to really try to keep moving, you know.
Be nice to have a committee, like you say, set
That's
up
what
or
I'm just
whatever.
saying, you know, and obviously, I'd like to stop in and talk with you and see, and, you know, and I had a conversation with Jenny the other day about that kind of stuff. And, you know, that energy is just what we need.
Well, especially because the mural's gonna be being painted down on the side of Sunrise, and
absolutely.
there's people that wanna do things, there's definitely a lot of potential. We just gotta figure out how to harness it
Yeah,
and move it forward and do it in the right way. I
We
mean,
got some nice restaurants in town too.
little things that I feel that are gonna help,
to come then.
moving the carnival up here, I think is a good
I
idea.
do
Why?
think that's a
Because
good idea,
it's
too.
right near our business district. I've asked for 5 years now to try to get one of our Monday night concert in the parks on Main Street and shut it down. Everything I do up here, and Tammy's heard me say it, and others as well, I try to figure out how we can get more foot traffic up on Main Street, because the business owners that are here, we wanna fill their stores and we want more people to come, so.
Absolutely.
Whatever we can do, I'm with Floyd. If there's a way we can start a committee, if there's something we can do, I'm willing to do what we can to help do what we can do to make Main Street, and every street, not just Main, but
Sure, but that, being
that's where it's gonna
core,
start
then
and it's
we'll-
gonna spread out.
Well, I'm planning to go to the Chamber's Marketing Committee meeting tomorrow morning. And, again, I'll bring up and talk to them about it too, and then talk to them about your feedback and just keep it rolling.
Keep us in the loop. We'll do what we can do, and, Floyd can be the contact person for now.
I'm gonna write this
and
down now because when I.
I've got it on the
I
list
got
that I'm
it.
gonna send back
Yes.
to the mayor.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank
This is
you.
a great start, thank you very much.
All right, going on to, no one else for the privilege of the floor that's on here. Under mayor's comments and correspondence ahead, Dr. Eliota, which we just talked with, said reminder that Matt Horn will be holding another walk-in for capital improvement plan input. I think that's for next week, again, before the regular monthly
For the
meeting.
regular meeting.
That's the stuff that we've seen online and whatever, and he'll be set up downstairs so you can fill out the survey, so we have some good guidance from the people within the village of kind of like what they're seeing, what they put on their And that'll bring us to committee reports, so village clerk, legislative. Any action list updates?
So the mayor sent an email out to, I believe it was Scott and myself, regarding the planters on Main Street, wanting to get a jump start on some of the businesses that have planters or want planters, to be able to make sure that everyone has the placards that they want. He was concerned that maybe there was not as much interest because they didn't have placards, so we're gonna use that as our jumping off point and just get ready long before we need to be. My action item is complete, but yesterday he sent the email, so I ran to a couple of the businesses that he asked me to go to on Main Street, both Dogwood Floral Company and Michael Adams Insurance. Spoke with both of them, just asked them what they would like to see, what they want on a placard. Had Nancy Nice stop in today, and she'll be the one creating the placards, so she agreed that she would take care of that. I said we'd like them as soon as possible, that way we can just continue rolling forward, so.
Yeah, we just always gotta make sure the placards get pulled later in the fall,
Right,
and then we can get them right back out early spring, which we could probably work with Scott and the guys, figure that out or whatever we can do, so.
right. So that was the only sort of add and check off the list at the same time, for action items right now.
The next thing he had was the ads for the police chief. Did we ever get a hold of Livingston County personnel to see, that's a civil service position, do they have a set of requirements for taking the test?
I'll have to get in touch with them to find out what they,
Yeah, we just have to figure out what requirements are, and then so we can move forward with that. And then Bright House Financial Stock Shares, it says you have the scoop.
I do. So I received in the mail this Bright House Financial, and it's basically an it says it's an opportunity where stockholders owning fewer than 100 shares of Bright House common stock can sell all of their shares. And so my question for all of you, it's something that we can discuss and then maybe have you vote on next week if you want. So the share value is $81.26. We own 2 shares. Is there any reason to hold on to that and leave it in there? I can't imagine.
Well, I mean, if it really, doubles, splits, triples, quadruples, I mean, we might just hit $200.
Right, exactly.
I think we should.
I don't wanna get any insider trading on this, though.
So
Put it on the agenda to vote it off next week.
that's, okay, just wanted to mention it so that we can prepare for that then next week.
We don't have any inside scoop on that, right?
We don't know. How long has that been in there, Marissa?
That I'm not sure, I
I
can
was
call,
gonna
see
say, how did
if
we
I,
ever end up with that?
I don't know, it came in the mail, so.
It was free when it started.
Ended up
Must have
on
been a
my,
gift somewhere.
What is the stock?
it doesn't give
Bright
the
House.
details
Bright
of the
House.
stock itself, but the company is called Bright House Financial. So it's the financial institution that holds the shares that we purchased at one point.
Basically, I want to get rid of it too.
I will call and, because I'm not on that account, I don't know if they'll give me.
Who is on that account? Is there a name attached to
Village
that?
of Dansville,
Oh.
so they probably have.
I was
that
wondering how
stuff.
far that went back.
I didn't get very far with it.
Alright, yeah, and then the next one was Paystar Credit Card Services, and again, you have the scoop.
I do, so I
The Scoop?
spoke with.
Scoop.
Scoop. I spoke with a guy named Andrew Bass. He, we had a phone conference basically, and he did sort of a demonstration of his program and what this is. We've talked, when I first came on, I knew there was some chatter about wanting to be able to accept credit and debit cards for water and sewer payments only. And so I spoke with this gentleman. He gave me the information on how that would work. I've since sent him some documents to show, he wanted to know different information about our water and sewer bills, some sort of like the average of what the bills were, how many accounts we manage, things like that. So between Jessica and I, we've been sending him information to try to get an idea of how this would work for us. And not too long before the meeting, he sent me another email. So there's still more information to be passed back and forth, but something to discuss if we want to move forward with an opportunity for our residents to be able to pay for water and sewer with debit and credit cards. We do get that question frequently. We
Yeah,
do
we've
accept-
discussed it several different times
Yes.
over my 5 years, we've talked about it a ton.
And this particular program is nice because they wanna stay home and pay online, they can do that. They wanna come in and pay with a credit card, they're gonna have a swipe that we could use. The one side of it that has to be sort of an accepted thing is that convenience fee is something that the village unfortunately can't eat. So that would go on to the resident who's paying. So for the convenience of being able to pay with a debit or credit card, they would pay an extra fee. What that is exactly, he hasn't explained yet because he's still collecting
He's trying to
information.
figure out how much.
Exactly.
Well, I think what we do is absolutely, it's gotta get passed on, cause the bill is the bill. And if people wanna do that, then they would understand that up front that this is what your bill is if paid in cash or check.
Right.
And this is what the bill is if paid in the other, and they get to choose, you know, I mean,
And once he figures out the volume,
Yeah.
he'll give you a percentage.
Right, and I think it's one thing where, you know, maybe in the beginning, not everyone will necessarily pay that way, but down the road, you know, we probably will catch on with more and more people know they can pay online. And he gave me an example of how it would automatically show on the account, so hopefully it would be a smooth transition if we implemented something like that. Certainly that's.
so you're gathering additional information to.
Yes, yep, so I'm
Bring
talking
back
back and forth
future.
with him, hoping for some sort of demonstration. I do have a packet that I can give to you guys to see. It probably won't make a whole lot
I
of sense
think you just
with
figure
the
it out and bring
screens,
us
but-
back to whatever it is, and again, if,
Okay,
as long as it's not gonna incur any additional charge to us, we'll
right,
look at it.
okay,
The only thing I would say is that, you know, just make sure Jesse and you, it's not creating a ton of work
Yeah,
for you guys that I gotta go in and reconcile off our bank account each person's payment.
Right.
You know, cause I've seen that before, we all think it's a great thing, and then all of a sudden, you're doing more work, or Jesse's doing more work, you know?
right,
That would just be my only concern with it.
I agree,
yeah.
okay.
Do any of the other villages have that?
Some do,
I'm sure your city's doing.
I'm talking about the local villages around here where you could kind of find out what's going on, how
None-
that works out.
none that I know of right now. Of course,
probably need
I
to be
still haven't
listed.
met a lot of the clerks, I've met a few, and the ones that I have met, they don't, but they're small, like Nunde, they don't, but they're much smaller community too, so.
He probably can give you a list of people that he does business with, maybe.
We
Right.
still have a post office and we can still mail checks if we can't get out of the house.
I know I write 2 checks, it's water and sewer and taxes, those are the only checks I write anymore.
And we appreciate them.
Got a lot of things to-
Anything else for the, anything else at all, or is that all the points?
That's everything for that for now.
All right, Public Safety Trustee Zay's not here, so we'll start with Code Enforcement. We've already discussed the fact that we'd like you to look into the vacant property registration. Anything additional outside of your,
Maybe 1 or 2 brush piles left to pick up tomorrow, and brush is picked up, and then you'll start hearing bad things about me again on the social media sites, because I'm going to start leaving notices again if anybody puts brush out when they shouldn't be. I send you regular emails and updates, so that is how it is. I have 7 o'clock court, and so tomorrow morning you will get emails from me saying what occurred at 7 o'clock court in regards to 37 Elizabeth Street.
Perfect.
I don't.
any new businesses?
Hello, it's right on the email.
I know, but I don't know if anyone came in late today and
No.
turned something in. I always
There
ask.
are no new businesses, other than, did I put it in the email? Existing business relocation of Empire Realty, put on your calendars, the 18th at 4 o'clock is the grand opening. And I did do a cursory fire inspection over at 154 Main Street yesterday, and for the senior citizen, I don't know what she's calling it, senior citizen recreation room. I don't know, but she's hoping to have that all ready to go by next week. She's right there, just has to change a few light bulbs and a couple smoke detectors, and then unfortunately that's another building that's owned by a property owner that will do nothing, so the tenant has to pay for all of that up front before they even open their
What was
doors.
the date on the grand opening, Empire?
18th, 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock,
Wednesday at 4 o'clock.
It's Friday.
Friday at 4
That's
o'clock.
not right.
We know that because the
Yeah.
calendar's still not
Calendar's on.
Don't look at that one.
Um,
It's not my calendar though.
Next Friday.
So,
Friday the 18th, 4 o'clock.
so there will be a storefront actually on Main Street that will have something other than nothing in it at least.
Catherine?
But, other than that, nothing, sorry. I wish
Okay.
there was. I don't
No.
know what to tell you.
We're gonna start the
Yeah.
committee.
I've got a question for you.
That's it,
I've got a
nothing
question
yet.
for you, but it probably doesn't fall into your realm, but maybe you would be able to help me. The clock on Main Street. The Women's Civic Club, I think years ago, did the fundraiser to put it up there. It is right twice a day. I just don't know what time it's right at. Cause it still moves, but it's just
still
not.
moves, but it doesn't move at the right
Has
time.
anyone ever, who do we go to in regards to that? I heard that they were looking for a clock fixer.
5 or 6 years ago, when the mayor first, well, in his first term, when he came in, he said, let's get that clock fixed. And then, but didn't go any farther, so I will look into who can do that.
If you would, that would be awesome.
Is that the one in front of Clockworks?
Yeah. Well, it's.
Clockworks closed, but Clockworks
Clockworks
got the
closed
name,
a
I think.
long time ago, but
I think Clockworks went out of business, or closed shop, or moved, or whatever they did, right? Clockworks isn't
That's the
still
only
there.
thing I could explain it to
they
you. but
closed
it-
shop.
That's where the
That's where it
new
is, yes.
That's where the new community, the senior
The
citizen.
senior citizen
community
exercise center is gonna
Yeah.
be, so. But if you could look into something on that, I mean, it's on Main Street, again, it is right twice a day. But we need to kinda look into
I
that.
missed the
I knew
one
it closed,
on the
but I
top
wasn't-
of
I
community,
didn't know what
or
was
the
in
top
there.
of Marine, when it was Marine.
Marine Midland.
Bank, that rotated around.
Well, if
the
you
station.
remember correctly,
Love that one.
Bradley TV had the camera that pointed over at us, so you could just turn on channel 6 and actually
Right.
see what the temperature was out. But anyways, moving on, anything more for,
You were a youngster then.
That was old.
I didn't say anything about that, but anything more for Tammy? Anything more? Alright, thank you, if you gotta head out,
Okay.
that's great.
I can go.
Have a good
Thank
night,
you.
Dr. Eliotto.
Good work.
Thanks.
Alright, next up is fire department, is that what you're here for, Woodrow?
September calls, total of 15, year-to-date 189. Provided mutual aid 4 times in September. Average response 4 minutes 45 seconds. And the only other thing, 518's still out. It's in Syracuse, getting pretty much a complete rundown to see what everything it needs on it. Pretty much just maintenance stuff. But,
Which one's 518?
the ladder. It blew a hydraulic line like
Oh,
the
yeah,
day
yeah.
before it left.
What
So,
happened, is that still, did you just say it's back in service?
no, it's still out of service. It's at Har Rob's in Syracuse.
That's been out since quite a while now.
But I'll.
Last
2
meeting?
weeks.
Just last meeting.
Yeah, it's the second week.
9/11, I wrote this down.
It's got inspection, needed the ladder inspection and everything done, but it had a whole bunch of other stuff that they couldn't do here. So we decided to send it out, and that way they can get it in the shops. I think the cables on the ladder had to be either replaced or adjusted, and they just couldn't do it here. Then the hydraulics blew on one of the outriggers. We said, well, since it's gonna be there, so they were going through it all just to see if everything it needed.
How's everything else going over there, good?
Good.
Any issues, nothing we need, no, good to go?
No, no.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Can I
You-
speak?
Well, you can speak low to him, you're not,
Is this weekend fire
Yes,
prevention day?
fire prevention open house is Saturday,
Thank you.
noon till whenever. So, feel free to stop by and
bounce houses?
jump in the bounce house.
Oh, I'll be there.
3 hot dogs.
Well, yeah.
Alright, anything additional, Woody? Anything for Woody? Thank you very much. Ambulance company,
Shannon, you wanna read that?
Oh,
Cause you're,
thin that out a little bit. Save a tree.
Greg Horr got a new job, so Greg can't be on time.
Thanks, Woody.
Yep.
thanks Woodrow.
Read them, would you?
What the heck?
So the Dansville Ambulance Company, I wish I had my glasses. So on the first page, what you're gonna have is the total runs for everyone.
Better give them the cap.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know, I was just speaking.
Thank you.
And then just read the second page is all you gotta read.
Okay.
See it.
So the second page, Town of Dansville, number of calls. Town of Dansville, 0, Town of Groveland, 2, Town of North Dansville, 6, Town of Ocean, 3, Town of Sparta, 10, Town of Springwater, 1, Town of Wayland, 0, Town of West Sparta, 3, Village of Canasraga, 1, Village of Dansville, 77, Village of Mount Morris, 2, Town of Mount Morris, 4, Village of Nunde, 1, and Canisius, Geneseo, Rochester, for a total, there was 3 for the 3 of them. Total calls for the month, it was 113. Destinations are listed to the right. You want me to list them all, or?
No, you don't have to. What do you see?
We had I guess the important thing is call coverage was 99%. Service to date, we have 1,038 calls for the year.
That's a lot.
And the only kicker is, and you'll notice that last thing where it says Rochester, Geneseo, we were everywhere this month.
Right.
I mean, the county is so short, and we're getting mutilated everywhere. So just beware that that's happening. And
Do we charge mileage from the time we leave our,
If it's whatever's billable, yes. Yeah. Yeah, whatever billable, it's a loaded mile, so wherever you pick the person up, you're getting paid on your way to whatever hospital you're going to. So yeah, that we do.
okay,
So there is a benefit, but like I say, the county is so short, and right now, they're not even running much ALS at midnight. I think your crew shared last night.
We did.
So, again, that's the biggest issue we're running into now, is we're going everywhere. And we actually were on the way back and coming out of Rochester, we had an accident in front of us that we had to deal with. So
Crash.
That's how we got the Rochester one, so. But coverage is good though, so. Yeah, Greg Horry got a new job, so he's got board meetings the same night as we have our meetings now, so he's in Corning Hospital now.
His mother's back in the hospital too.
No, I didn't know that, yeah.
She went, had a heart attack not too long ago, and now she's back in with blood clot or something like that. She's
I
in
knew she went to
strong.
Murray Hill, but now she's back in
And
Buffalo.
she went from there to strong. Yesterday she did.
alright.
So everybody knows that.
Yeah, we probably can't say it on the recorded line, those HIPAA violations, we shouldn't mention people's names, cause that goes out into the.
He didn't really say a name, he said a mother.
So, anything additional for the ambulance company?
We're good.
Alright. Next up is the police department.
So the police department, number of complaints for the month was 376. I'm not gonna go down through them.
No, you don't have to.
Okay, so a couple things, just to go over quickly. The first page, obviously, is, the important thing is the number of complaints that we had. Second page would be the officer's arrest for September. The third page, and that's where I'll stop, but there's gonna be a memo in there to myself, from an officer. And then I would just ask, maybe after you're done meeting with Scott and whomever else, maybe we would go into an executive session, because that's what's going to detail everything else that's behind that point.
Okay.
Just a quick update, the hoods on the vehicle, so the ghost car and the white car are under warranty, they're bubbling, so we took the cars up maybe a week and a half ago, they're in. I was supposed to have them up there Monday and Tuesday, unfortunately things got a little busy, they didn't get there. So we rescheduled for the last week in October, so hopefully the hoods will be replaced, and we're moving forward with a Ford warranty. The 21st, the group is gonna come down to do the, if you will, audit, or the, I'm not gonna call it an inventory, I'm guessing it's an audit that they're gonna come down. They're asking for 2 to 3 officers to be in the room with them. They're gonna have 2 individuals with them as well. Just some ideas that they're tossing out. Once we get up and running, they're thinking that we're gonna need some supplies in there. Shelving and stuff like that, so just, they're not stating that to go ahead and order it, but just so that we know that there might be a budgetary item coming, that shelves are probably important. Just a reminder, and I know that we talked about it at our department head meeting on the 31st, obviously it's Halloween, so we do have the Halloween parade. I did speak to the fire department regarding, assistance with some fire police, and they're willing to do so. I still haven't done anything with the old patrol car between Scott's schedule and my schedule. We just haven't had time. In November, things will be slowing down for both of us, so hopefully we can get that up to the junkyard and get that taken care of. The car, the brand-new car that's waiting to be striped, it was gonna take 2 to 3 weeks for the decaling, to have that created. It's been 2 to 3 weeks, I've been calling, his name is Matt, I've been calling him every day, just to see, because it's another 2 to 3 weeks before we can get it into the shop. So I've been hounding him, hey, it's been 2 to 3 weeks, let's get this thing moving, at least schedule us, so I can let everyone know and try to get that car, moving a little. Just a quick couple new things that we've done. I do have electronic scheduler, instead of doing a paper thing. It's a 3-month trial at this time, it runs out in December. This kind of helps everyone, the officers can see when, the schedule on their phone, they can keep track of it. They can also, if there's a shift that comes open, they can bid on that shift, or if they need a day off, they could also put a request in asking for that day off. It seems to be working pretty well. We can also keep track of our certifications, meaning the BTO, rifles, CPR, AED, and the major thing I thought is important is our driver's license. Just something that we kind of forget about, that we should probably have a valid driver's license. So that's the 4 things that we would be tracking. Here again, that's a 3-month trial right now. It's costing about $106 a month. If we can see if it's justifiable, then we would stick with it. We've been using it at the Ambulance Corps for probably a year and a half, if not 2.
At least 2.
They're very easy. We had a couple of changes today. We called the company up, and boy, they changed them instantly. And that was just regarding some of our time off that, we wanted to add in there. With this program, it can also track our time off. So let's just say you start out with $200 or 200 hours of vacation. If you put in that request, it's approved, it automatically subtracts it. So it's checks and balances for us in the village clerk's office, just to make sure that we're on the same page.
Is there, now it's in a trial, is there what's the cost to it once, if you were to decide after 3 months to go to it, what's the cost on
So
that?
there is no savings if you pay monthly or yearly. I tried to do that with the ambulance corps when I was a president. It would be that approximately $106. I didn't want to pay for the whole year, just in case it's not going to benefit us, and if there's any changes down below, whomever might not want that program. So just an idea. I know the sheriff department, we did look at your program. They weren't budging off $2,999, so it's kind of hard to justify a schedule.
It's a lot bigger of a
Correct.
This is a simple program, and we use it at the ambulance. It's and the people that own this business, that's what these people are.
Right.
They're EMS, they're fire, they're police. That's why they're so responsive, because they understand when you talk to them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just a very quick up on the police chief. So the mayor and I had talked about that maybe 2 weeks ago, so I contacted our personnel office, and they're telling me the village law 8-800 discusses the police chief position. The village attorney should review the village law in regards to the questions if the police chief can be full-time or part-time. That's been, the mayor had asked if it could be part-time or full-time. That's, I guess, in the village law 8-800.
Isn't there a civil service law that says once you have 5 full-time police officers, you have to have a full-time?
She's claiming that is village law. So you would need a civil service police chief, but it could, some agencies would be part-time, or it could be full-time. But she says it's up to, you definitely need a civil service police chief, but she doesn't want to say yes or no to if it can be part-time or it has to be full-time. She just recommends contacting the attorney and going that route. The police chief exam has already been ordered, I'm guessing from another agency, and that is open competitive and promotional. They've both been ordered. They don't know when it'll come in and when it would be offered, but she said that someone's already taken care of that issue. Not an issue, but someone's already requested a test.
Different PD?
Wasn't Dansville. So
What if it's Mount Morris?
yeah, it could be a different agency in the county.
Is there a set of requirements, like,
So on the, there is, and on the application, it would list, don't quote me, 2 years of supervisional status. She did mention an associate's degree, here again, different, part-time was a little bit relaxed more than the full-time. But there's different qualifications, if you're gonna ask for a provisional test compared to the competitive test. Provisional would be, that you would hire within. Obviously competitive, you would open it up to the county and whomever could take the test and go forward from there. I can definitely ask, I mean, Jen seems to be pretty spot on, she gets back to us as soon as, you know, within a day, she's back to us with some answers, and she seems to be on top of it. But that, we brought it up last Friday, you know, if we wanted, I guess the board would have to decide if they want part-time or full-time, and then go forward from there, but unfortunately, we haven't looked at, or you haven't looked at the village law, so we don't know what's required and what's not required.
Can somebody print that village law for us?
It's in codes, or it should be in the code.
Oh, and that, okay. I know.
We should be able to go on the village website and go to that, and then,
Right, it's on the shared part, yep, I think you're right. Okay.
yeah, read it, because you can get into all the new, we did the update, so it should all be in there. I mean, at no point has this board ever thought it, it's the first time I've ever heard the word part-time used. We've never discussed a part-time chief here, so I mean, in my estimation,
Not the chief,
I just feel like with the amount of work that's down there and the amount of necessary, I don't see where we would wanna take anything and go backwards. So, my vote would be for a full-time police chief, so, we'll have to just go with whatever, see what that law says,
Right.
and then just act accordingly and open it up and see what we can do. But, yeah, I don't think I'm only speaking as one, but this board's never discussed a part-time police chief
No.
as a board.
I don't
Probably,
think, I truly,
Yeah.
I truly don't think it's an option, to be honest.
I don't either. I wanna, if anything, we wanna build the PD bigger, stronger, and better, and, you know, I'm gonna tell you, 25 years ago, this place had applications stacked this tall. And this is where a lot of people, everyone was wanting to come, and that's what I'd like to see it again, is be back to that spot, so that you're not worried about guys, you have people, and when I say guys, I mean guys and gals, whatever. But I'm just saying, I mean, this was a place, it was the destination, it wasn't any of the other places, so that's where we wanna go, and I don't think that a part-time police chief buys us that, I don't think it portrays that, I think that it's a full-time police chief, so that we can have someone down there full-time. I guess I could keep beating that drum, but I got it across straight,
Yeah.
right?
I've also been reviewing, obviously, or observing the email traffic between us all, so the policies are pretty much completed. I'm not sure who's gonna review them, I guess is the question, because by the time I change them and put someone else's name on them, like the reviewing officer or created by, you know, right now Chief Perkins' name was on there. I had them started back in November of last year, so I had it starting January 1st, 2019, you know, they would go into effect. So there is a little more updating that I'm gonna have to do, or we're gonna have to do as an agency downstairs. I just don't wanna put a date, and I'm not even concerned about the
Don't wanna
name,
change it
but I don't
twice,
wanna
is what
keep
you
on
mean, yeah.
changing it if, you know.
Thing is,
my
I think
goal
you're gonna have to
December
put,
1st.
if you're doing it, I think you put your name on it as officer in charge, and you'll date it, and then, for whoever the person is that becomes the chief, can then go through them and sign off on them, and, you know, because anytime a new person takes charge, just like, the audit. The audit is based on the fact that there is gonna be a new person in charge, and the audit has to be done. And it's not in regards to anything going wrong before, it has to be done so that the person who takes over knows that everything's on the up and up. They're also gonna give bullet points of, this is how you improve, or this is based on this law, why we do X, Y, and Z. So it's very helpful moving forward.
So can you have these ready for like November 1st start? I'm just asking, I'm not.
I can have some, you know, I would tackle probably the training, there's training administrative, and I can't think of the other one right now, but one of them has like 70 SOPs or policies, so it's gonna take a little time, it's not gonna take too hard, you know, it's gonna take some time, but I'm sure that we can get it definitely done.
And then, one thing that I would like enacted going forward is that, part of that is a yearly evaluation of the officers. Whoever's in charge should be doing a yearly evaluation of officers. In that yearly evaluation of the officer should be signing off that they understand the rules and regulations as set forth by the department. That way, they have a clear understanding that they know what they are. And then, you know, from that point forward, is where, if there's an addition, a change, or deletion, whatever, is where they review it and sign off that they understand it, and that goes in that they understand it, and then the following year, they sign that they still understand the rules and regulations. That way, if one's violated, let's say someone gets caught, they're sleeping and they don't answer to a complaint, and that's a clear-cut policy that, they know they understood. That sleeping on the job is not allowed. Something as simple as that right now could be an issue. So, yeah, I would say put your name on it, put your date on it, you're in charge. This board has placed you as officer in charge of the police department. We're gonna move it forward in your direction. We support you, and we want you to, and whatever happens in the future, we don't know. But right now, you're the guy.
Okay. So, just two quick things. Matt Cole is in interview and interrogation school for the week, so he'll be finishing that up on Friday. So that'll be out of, a notch underneath him. He's very excited. So we're looking forward to getting him back on the road and honing his skills here. And then the last thing that everyone should have in their folder is Officer Turnbull's letter. And if we could just go into executive session after Scott's all done, she would just like to discuss that. And that's all I had for my report.
Any questions for Shannon? Let me just go over the things. Court security update, do you have any update on that?
Yeah, unfortunately I do. I'm gonna have to do some more research.
Okay, maybe report back next week or something?
Yes.
Okay. Update on rifles?
So the rifles are in, the ammunition's in, everything's in, cleaning supplies I just purchased. The only thing, and I think that this could be a savings grace on a couple different things, I'm gonna need a locker. I'm gonna need a gun safe or something. We definitely need a gun safe, to secure them.
You got the guns?
Yes, the guns are in, they're
Are
downstairs.
are you getting the gun stuff for the, mount them in the cars?
We are. I wasn't sure, I would have to look at different people's policies. Do you leave them in overnight? You do.
We do, yeah. They're locked in there.
Right,
And the only way that they can be activated is with a key to unlock them. Yeah, ours are.
okay. So I wasn't sure if you kept them overnight or if you transported them in and out.
Nope,
Keep them right in the car
they're in the car.
Okay.
You can get the gun, I think you got them?
So we've ordered them. When we take, all three vehicles have to go back up to Buffalo for maintenance anyway, lighting issues and stuff like that. So as they go up, we're trying to plan that all in one day, drop one car off, have them fix one, return one the next day or whenever. We just keep on jockeying around until they're all equipped. But as soon as the new one goes up, yes, 2 of them will be done then.
So yes, they are left in the car.
Okay, that works.
So no need for,
Well, you'll hear, we'll need a gun safe, just because we have 2 cells downstairs. We're not supposed to go into a cell with a weapon on
how
it.
long before you need one?
So, we were written up on it sometime within the year. So that was part of our DCJS audit. The mayor received a copy of it, I gave it to him maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. They just emailed me another one, so I just received it about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. There were some minor issues that we just have to correct. One of them was that we have to secure our weapons, that's all.
Should we do all that once you get the audit from the other port, in case we gotta buy other stuff?
Yeah.
I guess is what I'm saying.
It'll be very similar to going into your facility, I'm sure, that we have to check our weapon.
Only to go into the
Holding,
holding.
right. So technically, once we would go in and unhandcuff someone, we're walking into a cell where someone could possibly grab our weapon or mace or something like that and use it against us. So they just want that secured.
Okay. Yeah, that's as easy as you can get a safe, even the one where they're,
Right.
and put it in the old dispatch office or something.
Yeah.
Mold it down.
Okay.
Okay.
It's pretty simple.
Horse, you have to have vehicles, rifles, locker room, procedures. And it says on here the DA's, New York, it's not the DA's, the New York State Criminal Justice Reform presentation. Do you wanna talk on that tonight, or do you wanna
If
forego
you guys
that?
tell me a date, I will ask Mr. McCaffrey if he can come down. The mayor wasn't sure if he wanted it just here, or if it would be open to the public and have Mr. McCaffrey speak. So it's up to you if you want him at a board meeting. I guess at one of the meetings that the mayor was in, it took approximately 30 minutes, so I'm not sure if you wanna tie everyone up.
He did that at the Rotary Club.
Okay,
I
so-
wasn't at the Rotary Club, but I know that's where he did it.
Okay.
My understanding was it was very, very informative. And I think it's probably well worth it. I'm not sure it's a board meeting thing.
Okay. Yeah, so the mayor was just trying to get your feelings on it, I think.
I'd rather have it set up at some time and then get it out to the public and have the public attend maybe downstairs.
Okay.
I sat through a lot of it, and I don't wanna sit through it again.
Alright, I can get a hold of Mr.
Sounds good.
McCaffrey, I can give the date. Is there a date better for people, or it would be November-ish, I'm guessing? Okay.
Yeah, I guess just coincide it with the mayor when he's back, the date, but I would say not board meeting night.
Nah, it's too much, I think. Plus, I mean, I think it's a general public thing that, you know, you should announce and,
And that should go out on some community web
That's what
pages
I'm
to
just
get
saying,
people out to
yeah, I
know
mean-
what's going on in the state, that law enforcement has no control over, no one in this county has control over, but yet we're gonna live with the ramifications of that, so.
right.
Anything additional for the police department? No? Alright, thank you. Village courts, theirs are in, the reports are in, we don't have anything, questions for them, correct? That's good. We're not here to answer them, but, budget, finance and audit, trustee Sick.
No, Marissa's got the floor for this.
Thank you. Okay, so we closed out September today with the accountant, Brian. We have a list of budget modifications that are not complete just yet. We were working on them, and next thing you know is the end of the day. So I'm gonna continue completing that just so that we're on board, making sure that things are coming where they need to, and
Will they be ready for next week?
they will be. So
We'll just
wanted to-
email them out when you get them ready?
I will, yep.
But it's easier on email than I think the shared drive because,
I'd like to email.
yeah.
No
I do
problem.
too, because nobody checks the share drive.
Okay.
Well, it updates weird.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Like I
as
pull
well.
the thing down to try to get it to update and it doesn't there and then,
That's what I was just trying to find down here and I couldn't get it to update.
okay, so
No
budget
problem.
mod's coming.
Yep, budget
Did
mod.
we close out last year yet?
Yes, and the AD is on the website, so it's available. I think I can email that too.
If it's on the website, I can find it.
Okay. One thing, and I don't know if this is
Go ahead.
financial or if I should have thrown this in the clerk section, just that the opportunity to discuss and possibly vote next week on hiring for the water treatment plant position, so.
Just Brian?
Dave.
So we had to put it up for,
That's for next week, right? So that, just give
What we
it,
need to do,
we had to put an ad in.
because when we posted it, I should've looked at the dates, but it's gonna be effective next Thursday, so it'd be nice if you guys would vote on it Tuesday. If there's no other applications for Brian and Dave, that is effective
We
Thursday.
can make the motion.
Right.
I just have, them, just get with the mayor and have him put it on the agenda. I won't be here on Tuesday,
We'll make a note of that.
but I support,
Vacationing or what? You get paid too much holiday.
hey. I'm not gonna be on vacation, let's get that straight. No, I only go once a year and that's in April. No, it's the last week of soccer and I'm not, that's my daughter's senior year and missing her last game.
I wouldn't either.
This village will move on, unfortunately, she will be all done.
So I did have the list pulled through the county, so
Okay,
I do have that, so just so that we're.
yep, just get with the
ready
mayor,
for
make
that
sure
next
that's on the agenda and I support it, so. Not that that means anything, I'm just one vote. Norm should be back from Newfoundland, I think. Anything else? Says other fiscal items.
Not for that at this time.
Alright. Public Works, streets, we see that, that's me. And we got the parking lot, I see it's coming along nice, I mean, it looks beautiful over there. Any updates on that, Scott?
Yes. We run into a little snag over there with the parking lot. I kinda noticed since day one, but there's a lot of bad spots in it. There's no base. I had Floyd come over today just so he could look at it. So basically, the main part that we've always like, not owned, but leased, that big chunk, it's about 12 grand, but we really need to box it out. And I talked to Chris Ramsey today. He's like the week after next. So the next 2 days are beautiful weather. I'd like to just get in there, bring the big excavator over, dig it out, gravel it. Because we put all that money on top of that, you're gonna have the same mess you had before. If you guys remember driving in, how it was always broken up and nasty potholes and things, that's why. There's one section, especially after it rained.
It's
I mean,
really,
we dug across because we're gonna put a couple light posts out front with signs on it. And last night late, we dug across, started digging across the parking lot. I mean, it's just garbage material. There's just no base. It's sandy, loamy, and you know, you put, you know, expensive blacktop on top, and you're gonna have that issue. I mean,
Ain't gonna take long for it to settle and crack and crumble.
yeah. As soon as you get a bad spring, when the frost comes out of the ground, and then those big old heavy trucks come in to dump the garbage and things like that, or we're over there cleaning snow off or whatever.
just the loader today, you could watch.
Yeah, the ground just pumps.
It's just, yeah, it's pretty.
I mean, the whole lot should be done, but, you know, we just can't afford to do the whole lot. But I'd like to do that main section that's really bad.
So what's our estimated opening date of having that back
Well, we're
open?
gonna open it, so that's why I just got done tonight. We've got basically where they can drive back through the GVTA and go out through the library. So we'll open that whole chunk back up out behind the restaurant and the bank. And then we'll just keep that section that we're working in, you know, off limits for now till we get it.
So is that money as something that is in the budget?
Well, really, the whole project's not in the budget, if you will. I mean, you know, we decided to do it. Probably most of that money's coming from fund balance, you know, unfortunately. It was never really a budgeted item, if you will. I mean, kind of all decided to do it. So, and then round two is out front, Pete wants to curb that out front so that there's some, you know, guidance when you come into the parking lot. So right now, we put a storm drain from like down by Sully's on Pine Street all the way up to Ocean Street. We're gonna cross Ocean, tie it in. I can't get the concrete guys to come in and curb it, but I can get the granite guys to come in and curb it. Problem with granite, it's more money, probably about $4,000 more. The only nice part is I can use CHIPS money on it. Like, I hate to waste my CHIPS money, but if you look at it financially, right now it's all dug up. You can just have them come in, put the curb in, and then blacktop it, and it's finished. If I don't do it now, I gotta basically fill that whole trench in for the winter with blacktop, and then dig it up in the spring. So by the time you weigh that out, it's probably a wash, you know. This way it would be totally finished. You know, we get it curbed, get the lights in, and pave the rest of it, and it's done. So,
It makes 2 entrances, right?
well, actually 3. One for the drive-through teller, and then 2 main entrances coming into the parking lot.
You had talked about when you wanna line it, it's gonna kinda give it some organization.
Oh, yeah, it's
I always feel
laid
like
out-
that's,
It's
like,
laid out nice.
when you used to park by Sully's, and then there was like a huge gap. And I felt like there was always wasted space in that parking
There-
lot.
Well, the driveways are like 36 feet wide, which is really nice. There's 2 36-foot wide drives, and we laid it out 3 different ways on same amount of cars.
I think it's a lot safer.
There's still a big area there that looks kind of like wasted space, but you can't park it. There's too much going on over there. Library, you know, entering from the sunrise by the library.
But the curbing keeps the trucks from all just whipping.
It
in
keeps
there.
them all, yeah, it keeps them, and it'll look nice, you know, I mean, it'll look professionally finished, and it should have a curb on the street anyways.
Well, that's what I'm saying, safety-wise, it's definitely gonna be a lot better.
And it makes a place to put our 2 light poles and signposts out there where they're kind of protected, you know, where people can't like drive right next to them. You know, if the parking lot's empty, they'd be able to just drive right next to the poles, you know, how they do now. I don't like it because it's harder to plow, but hey, it is what it is, you know.
Right.
But, so, the gravel part, I don't really see an option. I feel very uncomfortable to pave over that. I mean, I just think it's a waste of money to put good,
You'll be doing.
good expensive blacktop over that crappy base. Unfortunately, it is what it is. And, We already did a section over on the other side where it pumped up, I mean, it was that deep, you know, where they drove through it with tiny loaders and just moved apart. But, so, the only
I'm fine with it, I saw what he was talking about, and I totally agree with the curbing. And if you can't get the concrete, I think it's a waste of time, effort, and money if you don't do it now. Cause come spring, you gotta put it in again anyways. And you'll lose both those lights if you don't have curbs.
well, it just finishes it, so it's.
So I'm just saying, somebody will hit them,
Do
guaranteed.
you have any comment on that, Mike, at all?
I just think it's gonna be okay. I just, it's, yeah, whenever you spend money, you kinda get a stomachache, but I think we need to do this, yeah.
Trust me, I've had a stomachache over it for the last month, keep looking at it, saying, we can shim
You
this
know,
up.
I
And
guess
then-
that's the way. it
Then
is.
after I saw it this week, it's like, no.
So if we go ahead and box it out, do all whatever we're gonna do, when will the overall parking lot be ready to go?
If Chris shows up the week after next, it'll be open up right.
Cause we're in October now, and if you remember the 1st of November last year, they shut the thing down, and then I don't want that thing open, I want that blacktop before winter comes.
Oh, it'll be, yeah, I talked to Matt today, the guy that actually paves for Chris, and he said, they would be all in next week, for sure, and then he'd be here after that,
So
so.
kind of a date that you think you,
And actually, the week after next, the weather long range looks pretty nice right now, I mean, I know that can change, but.
what about Elizabeth Street where they're putting the nice things working, we need to patch that up too?
They gotta patch
blacktop?
that up, that's their
all up to
deal,
them.
that's their issue.
Are you doing any other patching around the village?
There's some spots, I mean, like North Elizabeth, well, not North, Lower Elizabeth, that's nasty down through there, but I don't see how we can do anything now, this time of year.
You still gotta do the street up here, right?
Yeah, that'll get done the same time.
Just
we do the park
take a
lot.
look, if you have some extra and you're looking for some place to go, where you pull into Crestwood Circle,
Well, that's a whole nother issue.
that looks, that's,
That's getting to the water, so we'll jump over to water for a minute. We have a fellow building a new house up on Gibson. You know where that is on the side hill? You can't really notice it because it's back in. It's
But
right next to the pond, you got
next to
the
the
greenhouse
pond.
and there's a lot.
okay.
So we've gotta tie him into the, the water system. There's a 16-inch on the north side of the road.
This is where you're gonna move from one side to the other.
Yeah, and so now that he's gonna do that, we've gotta open the road up to basically missile across. So we're talking about today, we'll go ahead and hook up the greenhouse, and then there's another house on the other side Rick Banker used to live on. The lady just fixed it all up.
Aaron Bridges' mother said,
Yes,
Hoyt.
yep, Hoyt, yep. So we've gotta do all that work, and then we were gonna tie in Crestwood to the new line at the same time that I was gonna pave all that up through there. So that's a lot of work, seasons.
You don't have enough time.
Well, I think we have to make time. I really need to get that line switched over because there's a huge issue up there with pressure. If there's a fire, it's not good up there.
Do you have enough time to get these things done?
Well, we're gonna
I
try.
guess
Weather
that
holds.
was, that was my next line.
We're doing
Well, I
okay.
guess when it comes to the parking lot, that parking lot.
That's
we-
gotta get done.
We haven't touched that parking lot in forever. We're obviously putting some resources there. We want it done right so it doesn't buckle up and we got the same problem in 3 years. Because if we do it right, we don't have to touch it for a good number of years. But if we don't, we're gonna be back in there. So I'm in favor of moving forward to get it done right. And then,
How much was that gonna cost, that box?
The box out, well, the gravel's like 8,200, and then we gotta put some crusher on, it's like 2,000, and the truck in about 1,800, so about 12 grand to do that section. And I'll have that in and done tomorrow night, have it in, I'd like to get it in, let it get rained on and things like that, so we can.
and I'd like to kinda take a look at the budget, see where we're at. Cause I know we start the budget in June and we spend a lot of the money because that's our working time, because once winter come, it kinda slows right down, but I really wanna make sure, see where we're at moving forward after this, cause projects continue to surface.
You want this to, it's okay for him to go ahead and box that out then?
Oh, yeah.
After that, you're saying we need to.
We need to really stop and look to see what we have, because we need to know going forward what there is,
Right,
so, okay.
it's like spending money, not looking at your checkbook.
As long as you have trucks.
Yeah, it's not. Okay,
One other quick issue, just the school has approached me for, they wanna get salt from us. They used to do it by bags and on the little back of the John Deere tractor, so he's got the new guy in town, so he wants to get a couple little spreaders like we have. They really don't have a place to put it. So are you guys, you see our issue, if we get in agreement with them, for those guys to basically, you know, we have to do something, we pay 10 cents a gallon for fuel down there, so I'd like to work on that, so we could maybe do something, if we're loading their trucks and da-da-da-da-da, maybe we could do something a little better on the price on the fuel. But I think 10 cents a gallon is a little high myself, but
I agree.
that's supposed to be, I can't remember, it's on the.
Make it an intermunicipal agreement that they waive the 10 cents and we'll waive the loading fees and storage fees or something.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, you know.
Works for me.
But I don't wanna get into this,
So
let's
I'll
cut
have
it
to
down
Get it
to,
black and
let's
white.
cut
Well,
down
I'll
to
have a
6
meeting with
cents.
them, and, at least if I got you guys' approval.
Yeah,
Try and move that and see what happens.
yeah, at
I don't
least,
see it as a big issue, we're loading salt, the guys are down there, we load it out of the plant down below anyways, you know, so.
but loading and storage, I mean, yeah, look into it, see what we can come up with, but
You're saving them money, so they gotta be able to save us.
Then the last thing is the, you guys wanted me to check on that playground thing, I mean, I don't see we're gonna do anything now anyway, it's so late, but it was $5,000 for that fiber to put down, remember, for the base. And it's about $3,900 for the blocks,
so we're talking about 9 grand before we even,
$9,049.
before we even get into the $27,000
Yep.
system, so you're looking at $36,000,
basically.
40 grand.
Yep.
So it's what we said from the word go, is 40
Yep.
grand.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, we'll have to look at it and see what we can do, because, you know, we'll look at that more towards spring.
Once you check your fund balance before we.
But we'll- yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And this comes down to the survey, I feel, what do people want? And there's always gonna be people who have different philosophies on what we should be doing, but we can't do everything. There's only one pot, and we get to, we're trying to do a little bit here and there, but these are all large projects. $40,000 is a large project, especially when the initial thing was raise money, pay for it, the whole 9 yards, and here we are. So, yeah. So we'll just keep that number, because either way, no matter how you slice it, you're looking at 40 grand.
And the last thing I had, did Pete talk to you guys about the Little League Park and the blocks and stuff over there?
Yeah, you were told that we approved that last time.
I didn't know if we, well, I'm getting donations, so the blocks will be paid for with donations. So
Yeah, there wasn't really much of anything else, was there? Well, a cost our-wise.
You know, there'll be some costs in the spring, like when we pave down in, things like that.
Yeah, he covered that last time.
Yeah, that was last month.
Yeah, he covered that. You're ready to go on that.
I just, so everybody's.
Darker early, the
Clay Seward stop signs on this list.
Yeah, it's gotta get put up, yeah, it's just one of those things, it's gotta get done.
West Liberty paving's gonna be done. And the update on no parking signs in front of the school, has the state been contacted by anybody?
They were gonna take care of that, I talked
Those-
to Jeff Hayes and.
School is handling.
Yeah.
How about any of the streetlights that are out, are they all lit now, all the streetlights lit?
Just Main Street ones, we got 4 of those.
Just notice any out and about?
If anyone notices them, they can go right on the NICEAG, website and file that, and then NICEAG comes out and fixes it. Yeah,
Except for yours are on Main Street, right?
Yeah, I got a situation right now where, with the basket, cause we switched the loaders, the Fusion. Hopefully I'm gonna get a coupler that, so we still have like 4 pieces, it's the old style, and get this coupler that we can use for now. It's like $2 grand, I think, but that way we can hook up to this stuff. Cause right now, we can't hook up to the basket to fix the lights, and I really didn't wanna rent a lift, cause it's, the time I rent a lift, it pays for that little hook, you know what I mean, so that's why the lights aren't fixed. We'll get that taken care of.
alright, anything else on streets?
Not that I can think of.
Water and sewer trustee Nagel.
Oh, Scott's got the floor.
Well, we just kinda hit the water, sewer, the pump station down in North Elizabeth, that blew apart, so that's an item we gotta get taken care of. And the boys are, there's a few issues at the plant, nothing major. Things are going good, DEC stopped in, gave us a visit, and there were no issues there. So, tomorrow they're gonna go around and check all the manholes. The boys did go to a class on relining manholes and they were pretty impressed with that. So, maybe we can get some of our manholes. Our flows at the plant are way down, like in the 600s. Well, it isn't great because it's way too low of a flow for our big old plant. So I was talking to Greg today and I told him, I said, you know, Whalen's looking to build a new plant, might as well send it down here to us.
That's kinda what I heard the rumor was.
Yeah, so I don't know if that'll happen, but we could definitely use the flow. But, you know, we keep stopping here and there, you know, and now we've created an issue down there, they don't have enough flow to push everything through. So we might even have to go down to one basin, just run one basin instead of two. So,
That's amazing.
Although it's a, struggle, it's not a, I mean, and it's a bad struggle, I guess, in a way, but it's a good struggle.
it's a good struggle,
Because in
but it's
the
a bad
end-
struggle, it's just, you know, again, not to go beat on anybody from the past, because I think everybody had bad information, I can't blame anybody. But, you know, they had tallies that we were taking in 6 million gallons at times down there, I don't think we ever were, I think it was just bad, you know, metering or whatever. You know, when a guy looks at the flow coming in, it's pretty hard to tell what it is, and they had bad metering, so I can't beat up on the people before, but the plant is huge, no doubt.
It is what it is, so.
It is what it is, she's built, she's there,
So
so.
start talking to Wayland, because that's
Exactly.
probably.
If they
the best
were,
option
I mean, if there was any way
financially
to,
For all of us. that's probably the
send
best
that
option.
down here, it would be a beneficial for us, right?
Absolutely,
And them, because they wouldn't have to have a sewer plant, period.
yeah, absolutely.
Plus, they could pick up all the houses down through.
Would that flow be more than we would,
No,
is that a
Our plant
legitimate
and-
thought process that's going on?
Yeah, I just talked to Greg about it today, and he's the engineer, I mean, who knows what'll happen, I mean, it's not gonna happen overnight,
No,
but, you know, if it happened.
could be beneficial for our water and sewer residents here, correct? Or
Yeah.
sewer, on the sewer sides of it.
Yeah, revenue. Yeah.
It could be revenue, so it could be thought of as a very big positive, because that's one of the biggest concerns in the village is the water and sewer bills.
Absolutely, I think
You
that's a
know,
real smart.
and by building a large plant, you can take the water, it is, you know,
I think that that's something that really should be looked into. I'm for it,
we're pushing it, so.
as long as it's feasible.
Oh, I think it's way cheaper for those guys to build a line over the hill than it is build a brand new plant.
And man the plant and do all the other things.
Maintain it as it
Yeah, it's
goes.
not fun running a plant, let's face it back, you know, we.
It's
have to.
hard to find people that can get through the schooling
Yep.
and
Yep.
can do all that stuff, which brings me to the next one. How's the schooling portion of all that going on?
Well, yeah, I haven't talked to Doug about when he's signing up for the test. I
Okay.
know he's close, it's just, those guys are busy.
Yeah.
No doubt, it hurts with not having a third guy, you know, a lot of times Woody's out here with us right now, and, he needs to get down there and spend more time. But, once we get 3 guys down there, but, yeah, Doug, you know, things slow down just a little bit, just
Say
every,
come fall, Woody will be able to go back there.
yep, yeah, but there's just, you know, those guys every day, they're getting hit with something.
But
So,
that's where it's beneficial for Wayland, because to come with us saves them, and it's gonna give you cash flow to keep people working.
exactly, maybe we could hire another guy too.
Well, that's what I'm saying, you would have cash flow. for
Maybe we
that.
could lower the bill.
Exactly. Yep. And both, you know.
Doug looks at me and pays a sewer bill, I don't really get trying to pay one.
Okay, I pay one.
All right, anything additional for Scott in the water and sewer? All right, with that being said, we'll move on to Parks and Recs, which is trustee Nagel.
One thing I have is, Dave Roberts, I think has he done that? He's still out, he's gonna be around for a while, isn't
He
he?
stays on through leaf season.
Yeah, he wanted, through the summertime, he told me, he wants a list of any time there's any, that Babcock Park's gonna be used, so he can come down there and be ready for any cleanup or ahead of time or behind, like any time. He'd like a list of any of the
Of the events.
events that are going on at Babcock Park, so he can go down ahead of time and vice versa and clean up afterwards. and
Pretty
whatnot,
much
you know.
do, I mean.
Yeah, the only one now, at this point now is football and the end of softball, co-ed softball. I don't even know if that's even over with by now. I mean, the PD would probably know better,
Right
but
now.
still.
So who gets the approval to use the park? Should just give that to Dave, is that?
No, well, in the spring, Marissa, I think Jess does it, but, you know, Jess will have the list.
They signed it out.
Right, so
We can bring it down, post it at shop, but
I guess that's all.
we pretty much, yeah, I can see there's probably some events that we've missed.
And you know, Dave, and he'll be.
Oh, he's conscientious, David, I could.
He'll be on me, he'll stop me in the street, how'd you make out, did you find out?
It's one of those things that's in your head that probably needs to be on the wall.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's fine.
You know, and I can get that, cause he can save you a lot of effort and not worry about it.
Dave come in and do his own job anyway, you
That's
know,
what I'm saying, takes,
Both the Daves do, they're both.
takes the heat off you, so, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Parks, you know,
I just know why he didn't mention it to me.
You know what, it's just something.
You're too busy somewhere else.
Absolutely.
It's fine.
You know,
and,
We'll give him a list.
and he's got initiative to ask, I think
Yeah,
that's a good
great.
thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Wish for other guys.
Gives them ownership in what they
some
do.
of the playground equipment still needs some attention.
Yeah, we've got,
Some of
there's
the
a whole list
playground,
of playground things we can do.
playground
We need
equipment,
to-
yeah, it's,
Yeah, it's,
because people know what's going on, and they don't, yeah, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it, because if they knew how some of the kids acted around some of the playgrounds, maybe they would understand
like
why
shaking.
some of the equipment is the way it is,
Yeah.
if they would come over and watch.
Well, it all leads to the other thing, I mean, you get a police chief and force and all that. They're out on the road more now because of these cars being set up.
I just feel
Yeah.
so bad about all the money, $40,000 to replace one down there. You got this one going on, this one, and the kids haven't got a clue, they got no supervision at all, and it's, which teenagers shouldn't need any supervision, but it's not.
Well, in the spring, we need to spend a lot of time in the parks, 'cause, you know, absolutely.
You
just
got your
gotta-
big projects somewhat under control.
You know,
we need to month in the parks to get them, you know, we got parking lots in, and there's just a lot of work to do in the parks.
And in the spring, it's gonna be pretty busy, cause we got,
Yep.
the gliders are coming to town.
Yeah.
I was hoping to get those parking lots done this fall, but
Plus you got baseball coming.
baseball's coming.
I'll get to that.
Okay,
You'll understand what I just meant.
okay, alright.
Yes.
All right, the only other, the couple things that the mayor had on here is that him and the town supervisor, Mr. Mass, are applying for a jointly for a DEC urban forestry grant. Which one still needs to be determined. There's two of them. He's waiting for the county grant writer to get back on which one we qualify for. Technically, the board has to approve us going forward with the grant applications. Since some require a share, which I'm taking, it must be shared services of some sort. So it will need to be voted on next week's agenda, so that'll be on the agenda, just so you guys got a little heads up. Planners, it says here he's working with Jen Louisi on how to promote the planners for next year. Had some issues this year, we've already kind of talked about them. And the biggest complaint's been the placards, but we've already discussed that. And the Nitros owner is changing the name of the team to the Dansville Gliders to reflect the history of the airport. History of the airport and gliding here in Dansville. The logo is to show an eagle, which glides and soars to give Whalen and Cohocton somewhat of a connection to the team, as the committee is seeking support from the Whalen and Cohocton communities. I'm not a huge, of course, a Mustang guy. If you put gliders and then you put the Whalen Cohocton Eagle on it, it looks like it's a Whalen team, and then I kind of lose the muster of it. I understand they're trying to tie him in, but it's a Dansville team. But I'm not in charge.
Yeah, using our parks and that.
Well, you can voice your opinion, and I'm pretty sure Mike's opinion and my opinion are probably close to yours.
Yeah, they can. I mean,
That's my
move.
opinion.
I mean, hey, we're gonna be the ones that are
Yeah, Whalen's gonna come.
mowing the
up with someone-
field, putting the
I was gonna
fences
say,
up and all that
Whalen's gonna pay
stuff.
some
But
of the cost, I'll be more glad to put an eagle on there.
yeah, otherwise I'd like to see a glider of like a glider, because we are a gliding community. I mean, if you sit down there at that field or anywhere in the village at any point, you see a glider, and if you're gonna call them the Dansville Gliders, then I'd like to see a glider.
You know, that's a good thing, I like that idea.
What's that?
The gliders. That's
Me too, but
Be sitting on a dogwood tree?
You know,
I don't know. My 2 cents.
Have the glider, have the eagle.
So I will not be here next week. Will you make sure that my sentiments are known on
Absolutely.
that?
I'm hearing you loud and clear, cause I'm with that too, so.
All right, and moving on, under technology, mayor vote, electric car charging station grants. Marissa's gathering more information on these. We talked about them for a lot behind the Sunrise and Credit Union. But, the mayor thinks that the town hall should have them as well. It depends on what we can get for grants and how much time it will take to process the application. So that's just so everyone knows, that's moving forward, with information gathering.
That's correct.
Monitors,
Oh, wait 1 second, I can add to that. Tops is trying to put 4 in their parking lot right now also.
which is a sweet thing. So, monitor's still working on them. He's got them operating okay, but can't bring up his programs. There's an update on the,
Can Shannon get the guy downstairs, come up, help the mayor get these?
well, I wanted to ask him before we left out all this stuff too, because that was my one thing was how is the update coming, but I'll get to you in 1 second. Update on walking tour, they're working on the update to the website in regards to the walking tour, he'll be helping out when he gets back, so. That's enough stuff there. Unfinished business, anything for tonight or next week? My only other question, I guess, would be for Shannon, how you guys coming along with the,
Yep, so the parts are in, he's building it, he's been working with our SJS, that's our reporting system, so they're all communicating. I did explain, it had to be a smooth transition, it can't be, it's gonna take a day, it's gonna take a week, oh, we don't have this, it has to be, you know, they pull a computer out, they put one in, and it has to be up and running within hours, otherwise we're just gonna get backed up. He says that he's done that for Nunde and shouldn't be any issue, so he's working on it. Hopefully
Awesome.
By the end of the month.
I'm looking forward, I've been complaining up here for 3 years now about you guys being able to do reports in the cars, because now we can be writing reports as we're sitting uptown, waving to people as they go by, being on traffic complaints, sitting in, monitoring traffic out in the community rather than having 4 cars parked out front, so I think that that's awesome, and I'm really happy that you guys move forward with that project, because I think it's great for the community to see the PD cars out in the community.
Absolutely.
So, okay, anything else for unfinished business outside of that?
Unfinished business.
Yeah, you wanna, go ahead.
Our second appearance of the owner of 37 Elizabeth Street just didn't bother to show up for his second appearance court, so he's now set for trial. November 13th at 6:30.
All right, moving forward.
Facing trial and fines.
Hanging judge.
I'm good.
Any new business for tonight or next week? Speak now, forever hold your peace.
Well, I'd like new business, I seriously would like the guy to come up here and get these monitors going, because I think the mayor's having a hard time.
Okay.
And then no criticism of that.
I can ask you.
But this guy, I mean, okay, first off, it probably is a pretty simple thing to do, and you ought to be able to include it in your bill, that's my opinion. Because these have been hanging on the wall since I've been here, and it's,
I can ask Glenn.
Cool. Anything
I
else?
wondered about that when we,
I'm sure, and I would be no different, I'm sure it's 2 clicks and the things work, you know what I
we
mean?
talked about that.
So, if you
The
want
mayor
me to
was
do it, it's
working
never gonna
hard on
happen,
that
okay?
yesterday and could
I'm
not
still a little,
get it to work.
That's my point, I think you're just going, and I'm the same way.
I'm a little old school, and I don't.
I have a niece that's calling from Pennsylvania.
All right,
this week.
any, community comments? Anything that was discussed tonight in the meeting is open for community comments?
Tammy didn't know there was nitros coming.
I didn't know that.
The nitros are coming, yes.
They're not the gliders
Do you know what they are?
What are the
They're,
numbers?
they are basically a collegiate level baseball team. It's kind of like the Hornell Dodgers, and they will be. They were the Wellsville Nitros. They have been around for forever, and they just decided to move, and they were looking at different places, and this has been going on. It's been in the out within the community. We've talked about it up here,
Collegiate.
and it's a collegiate leveled team.
This needs to get out more. I mean, I don't see it on our website or anything.
Been in the paper.
Been in the paper.
It's not on our website. I don't get the paper.
Maybe get with the mayor and get it on the website. Then I would like to.
We definitely need to use our website more,
Yeah,
Yeah.
even the projects that Scott's doing,
I mean, it'd be nice.
pictures
There's
and all that stuff.
there's bulletin boards right here in this town hall and then we never see anything on it. and
I know at
stuff.
this point what they're looking for is host families. That's the big thing. These boys come in from all over the place, all over the United States, all over the world to play. And the biggest thing they need is host families. So if you know of anyone
Get
that,
the word out more.
that's where
Right,
the
that's what
connection in
they're trying to
Whalen
do
is
around
a lot of the, they're gonna try to use that community as well, or any of the surrounding areas to try to find place for host families.
They gotta have 30 families, right, something like
Yeah,
that.
at least 30.
Yeah, so it's. and you-
All right, anything more on community comments? If nothing, I would ask for a motion to go into executive session to discuss the work history.
Motion,
Second it.
You got the times on that? I will jot down the times and leave them on.
7:28.
Okay, motion carried. You guys have a great night.
Scott.
See you later.
See ya.
I will write on.